This is Media Beat on Mediabistro.com. I'm Danya Blaze, and we're joined today by Miss Marissa Meyer. She is the Vice President of Consumer Products for Google. Marissa, again, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So you've overseen over 100 products that Google has released in your time there. Which one would you say you're most proud of, and why?
That's kind of like asking someone to pick a favorite child. And so, I'm really invested in all the different products, be it Google Search or iGoogle, Google Maps, Google News. These are all things that I'm really proud of, and I'm really happy to have been part of the teams that launched those products. And so it's almost impossible to say.
And this is also from Twitter. At Knowledge Notebook BK wants to know, is education technology one of Google's priorities?
Well, I think overall, search is about education. It's people finding out things and learning new things. And so at the very heart of what we do, our focus is essentially education.
Okay. Google recently barred Facebook from importing data from Gmail users. Can you tell us what was the reasoning behind that decision?
Well, we're very focused on having an open web at Google and being very open with users' data. We believe the users own the data. And so as a result, because we want this open platform, we've allowed our users to take their data wherever they go. That said, what we've seen is that there are some services that readily take the data, but actually don't offer reciprocity. They don't allow users to take the data back out. Mm-hmm. So if a user says, okay, well, I'd like Google to share the data with this other service, does that other service, are they willing, if the user instructs them, to share it back with Google? And so in cases where we're not seeing that reciprocity, and Facebook is one of those cases, we ultimately have said, this isn't really what the open web is about, and we need to take a stand so users ultimately get the benefit of having their data be more open and more readily available to them.
And speaking of social media, you guys launched Google Buzz, which had a big buzz, but again, then you got some backlash from the community who didn't want it so incorporated into their Gmail. What are some lessons you learned from?
Well, I think one of the things that we've learned is that Google hasn't gotten social right yet. That said, social is really important and something that we're working very hard on, and I think we will get it right. I think if you look at some of the main platforms of the web, it's search, video, mobile, and social, and we've done really well in 3 out of those 4, and we're working very hard on the 4th.
And how do you expand at the rate that Google is expanding and still keep privacy intact? Like some of your initiatives, such as trying to store medical records online, that's just rife with privacy issues, I would think. So how do you balance that?
I mean, privacy and trust is at the core of our business. Essentially, our business is search. And when you're searching, you're learning something. And when you're learning something, you need to understand the biases of who you're learning it from. And so for us, building trust and really building a great relationship with our users is what makes Google ultimately work. And so it's what we put first. We really think about privacy in all of our products. We focus on transparency, choice, and control, making sure that users understand how data is used, give them a choice as to whether or not to use the service. There's almost always a way to use the service without sharing your personal information, and as well as giving them control over the data. So for example, on something like personalized search, if we use your searches and your clicks to personalize future search results, and if you say, well, no, I really don't, I didn't do this search, or I didn't want Google to know that I did this search, you can actually go in and make those deletions.
In our next segment, I want to talk about your career and get some advice for others who want to follow in your footsteps. This is Media Beat on Mediabistro.com.